Hello everyone, it's Andrew from Gem TCG here, and in today's video I'm going to be explaining why your variation listings might not be performing as well as you would have expected them to, and how to improve them for the future so that your variation listings will make more sales. Because one thing I talk about a lot in my videos is how important variation listings are, especially for getting multi-card sales. People are collecting a certain set or they need a bunch of cards from one rarity. Variation listings are the way to go, in my opinion. I think you can get the most sales doing that, especially when done right. Because my best listings with variations are they get they have like 3,000 plus sales in each of them. So let me show you exactly how to make them better quality so that more people will continue buying from them. So first thing is you need to have them set up in a way that it makes sense. A lot of people are confused on what exactly to do with the variation listings, like what to put in them. And a good rule of thumb is just something that you have a lot of quantity of and variety of, or that you plan to in the future. And then the other thing is something that makes sense that people would buy all at once. So some big examples of what I do with my store is Brilliant Stars Reverse Hollows, an entire variation listing of all of them. Rainbow Rares, all the Rainbow Rares from Sun and Moon and up in one variation listing. There's 200 different variants in there so far. Next thing could be like, I don't do this, but you could do it, is a bunch of EV cards or evolution cards. That could definitely be popular to a certain audience. And if you have a bunch of variety of those types of cards, it could work well. So those are really the big three for making variation listings. I wouldn't recommend just doing random groups of cards. Let's say you do a bunch of commons from the entire Sword and Shield era, or a bunch of rare cards from Brilliant Stars, because it needs to have big variety, like I mentioned. And if it has a small variety, it will not do well, most likely. Because what I did when I first started was I did a bunch of the different sets in Sword and Shield, all of the V cards. So I had all the different sets and then all the Vs. And each variation listing had its own, 20 different cards, and they did not perform well at all. And then I combined them all to just be one Pokemon V choose your card type listing with 250 variants, and it started selling much quicker, and it became one of my best performing listings. So having that big variety is definitely a game changer. And next up is the overall image. So when you're making your listing, you want to do or make a very good overall image. And if you look at my store, I'll show it right now too. You can see that I have all of these different variation listings, and I'm not going to say it's a perfect title or perfect cover photo, but it gets the point across of what exactly this variation listing is for, versus if you just have a regular picture. So let's say someone's searching and they're looking for a bunch of rainbow cards, and then they see this and they see, oh, this looks pretty good. There's 10 rainbow cards in the image. There's a little description too. Rainbow Secret Rares, choose your cards, and it just looks more professional. So if I typed in, let's just say Pokemon Rainbow Rare, choose your card, it shows up right here. I'm not sure why the cover photo is not showing, but it's the first ranking one. Just for proof, it's my listing. But that's that. Just have a really good cover photo. Like this one right here. It's Pokemon card VMAX V Star, choose your card. First of all, that's two completely different varieties or options, and not many people are going to be buying VMAX and V Stars at the same time, or they're not going to be looking to buy those at the same time. So you're diluting your listings if you're combining different rarities or different types of cards. So that's another side tip. Don't combine stuff, and just be very specific with what you're listing, and make sure it's in a way that people are regularly looking to buy at the same time. So, and then that's that. Have a good cover photo. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just make it look like it's professional. You can build one in Canva pretty easily, and I'll probably make a video on how to make a good cover photo. But that's that. Just make something that shows it's a choose your card type listing because it can be pretty confusing. One thing I made the mistake of is, if you noticed earlier, I have this celebrations one right here, and I just put in ETB. And it's still, actually, I've done it with pretty much all of my reverse hollow entire set listings because I didn't have the time to go in and make these cover photos for all of them because there's hundreds of them because I did it for all of Sword and Shield, all of Sun and Moon, Scarlet Violet, and even the EX and Diamond Pearl and Platinum era set. So I didn't have the time to do that. And I just stuck with one ETB picture. And I used to get some messages from people saying, is this listing for the whole box or is it for something else? And I guess not everyone reads the title of Choose Your Card, which makes sense. If someone sees this image, it makes sense that they would think, oh, there's something to ETB. But it's actually a choose your card listing and it has all these options down here. But I guess some people are not aware of that, which is my mistake. And hopefully you guys can learn from that because you should try to make it indicate that it's a choose your card listing and don't make it so that they think anything otherwise. And then the next thing is once you go into your listings. So a lot of people make this mistake from what I've noticed is that they don't put in the proper values in their variants. And they also don't put it in the right order. So a lot of people, they put in, let's say for this Marnie card, they would just write Marnie, whatever that number is, 208 out of 27202. And then they'll think that's it. And then they'll go in and put Charizard VMAX. And then they'll put Mewtwo V Star. And it'll be out of order, which is a bad idea because when people are searching through these lists, it opens up an entire thing right here. And there are hundreds of options. You can fit up to 250 different variants in one listing. And if you're making it out of order and not alphabetical order, then people are going to struggle to look through it and they're just going to click off because if they have to go through a list of 200 cards and then look through where's the Marnie and then they have to go through every single card just to find what they're looking for, and then once they find it, they add it, and then whatever. That's going to be very time consuming, and they are not going to want to buy from you if you're doing that, unless obviously maybe your prices are half what other people are charging. But make sure your variants are in order alphabetically because you want to remove as much friction as possible when people are buying from you. You want it to be the quickest way to do so, which would be having everything alphabetical. Some people do it by number, but I don't recommend that for two reasons. One, when you're sorting your cards physically, you don't want to be looking at this tiny little number down here because it's going to strain your eyes and it's just going to be more annoying because I'd rather look at this big word than this tiny number to do sorting. And then the second thing is not everyone is familiar with the numbers of the cards, but they know the names of the cards. So if someone's saying, oh, I need the Melmetal VMAX Rainbow Rare, they know that before they know 80 out of 78. And even if they need to check which cards am I missing, they can quickly look it up on a set list and find the numbers. But going in a list of something like this and then looking for 80 out of 78 is going to be much harder. And then the second thing, or the third thing actually, is eBay, for some reason, sorts things on in coding terms, it sorts it as a string, which means a word, and it doesn't sort it as a number. So if I have, I'll show you guys actually, because I made the mistake of doing it by number for the Wizards of the Coast choose your card listings that I made. So they're like this: 31 divided by 62 dash Arbok. So number, then name. But if you go here and you sort by name, it does 1, then 10, 11, and so on. Then it goes to 2, 20, and so on. And then whatever, 7, 8, 9 is at the way bottom because so it sorts it based on the first number, not the entire number. And this leads to a huge problem that I'm still dealing with, but I can't go in and make a change anymore because it's very hard to edit variation names. I know there's a way to do it with some CSV work, but I am not going to put in the time and risk that. And then let's say you're sorting your cards, even if you do it in number order, it's going to be Aerodactyl, and then the second card is Articuno, but on here it shows Lapras because 1-0 in eBay's terms comes before 2. So I recommend doing it by alphabet. It's much easier to handle and maintain and update. Maybe, and I don't know, if you want to do it by number, go ahead. If you're doing lists, maybe you can do it, but I definitely don't recommend it. And then the next thing is that another thing people don't seem to focus on and make better is that the variant name matters a lot. So right here, I have all the reverse hollows, but I still put reverse hollow in the name. I put the number and I put it in capital uppercase format so that it looks professional. Because when people are searching, most people are not going to be searching Obsidian Flames, reverse hollows, choose your card. Most people are going to be searching something like this, Baltoy 94, reverse hollow. So let's just say someone is searching Baltoy, what was it, 94, was it 147? 197. 197 reverse hollow. I searched that up, and here's proof. Baltoy 94 divided by 197 reverse hollow. Mine is the first one to show up. Now, this could be because maybe it's just showing for me because apparently sometimes the eBay algorithm is biased if you're searching for your own product, but still, it's showing up first. And I'm sure if I type this in for any other example, it would do the same, it would have the same result. But let's say I didn't type that in properly, or I didn't have my variants in the correct order. It would not work as well. It would be not showing this result anywhere near these other ones because it's just not matching. The search result does not match what your variant name is. So when you're naming your stuff, make sure you have all the proper information. Now you are limited with eBay variants. You don't have as much characters. I think it's like 70 is the max. So you have to be very selective with what you put. So I recommend name, number, rarity. You don't really need anything else because most people, that's all they're searching for. And that's going to give you the most bang for your buck if you do it. So those are all of the tips. And I automated this with TCG Automate as well. Because when you go to make a variation listing, you could just download it and it pre-fills all of the variants in that proper format that I'm talking about. Because it's very important to have it like that. And let's just see this one. This one is probably 80 characters. So that would not fit in a variation listing. So it trims it down to be Salandit 25 divided by 156, and then it would say promo. This one would be Cosmo M 61 divided by 156 uncommon, and then so on. So in my opinion, I think variation listings are great if they're done correctly. With single card listings, you have more room for failure because it's only one card. If you mess up one listing, but you did 100 listings, you're going to see better results than if you messed up one listing of variations that isn't performing because there's less data to work with. The other thing is when you're creating variations, you have to create them one by one like this. And that's why another thing like using TCG Automate is such a game changer because you could just upload your images. It puts it all properly and does it all for you. You don't have to click create your own, type it in, add, click it again, type it in, add. And it's super time consuming to do them manually. So I would definitely advise checking that out and trying it out. Now, one thing I do need to mention is that it does not sort them for you. So before uploading them to TCG Automate, you're going to want to sort them in alphabetical order so that your variations will be in that alphabetical order. You don't want to have it like in this example, because I'm doing these as single card listings, so the order doesn't matter. But you don't want an S and then a C and then a P. You're going to want an A, B, C, D, and so on. So check or try it out. You don't have to use TCG Automate, but try out variation listings, but do them properly. Don't go half in and make it with low effort because your sales will show, like the results will show and speak for itself. Make sure to do all the things I mentioned in this video. Most important thing for search is the variation names. make sure they're properly formatted, have the most important information, and I promise you, you will start to notice that the sales will get better. But yeah, you know, if you guys found this helpful, comment down below. And also comment down below if you're enjoying the variation feature of TCG Automate. I haven't used it yet because I've done all the variation listings that I could have so far. Like nothing for me to do anymore. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are. And I hope you guys start to notice some better sales with your variation listings.